What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Warren Watches Wrestling back at you with another video, and today we'll be breaking down this episode of NXT of August 18th, 2026, and what I thought was a pretty solid episode. Not going to waste no one's time here. Let's jump right into the review. Up first, we start off with Cruz Montana coming out to the ring, cutting your run-of-the-mill Cruz Montana promo. I'm a Bonita from the Bronx, the whole nine. You know how Cruz Montana cuts a promo. It wasn't anything different. And then we have Ray Phoenix music hit, which was kind of a surprise because I was like, why is Ray Phoenix coming out here? This was very, very random. And then I kind of put two and two together, and he literally said it. He goes, I'm here because the match next is the number one contendership match, which does make sense. The promo was shaky at best. I know Ray Phoenix isn't known for his promos, especially in English, but the promo was terrible. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was very, very weird, very long-winded, but nonetheless, he was just there to watch the next match, which the next match was a banger of a match. We had Romeo, his last name is blanking right now, EK Prosper, Trishan Angels, and La Parka in a Fatal 4-Way match. Great match. All four of these guys, had pretty good chemistry, very, very fast paced, a lot of high flying moves, a lot of, running around, back to back moves. So it was very, very fun Fatal 4-Way. And we did see EK Prosper get the win. It does look like WWE sees a lot of promise and future in EK Prosper, which I do get. It's crazy to say he's like a mini Javon when Javon's only like 21, 22 years old. But he's really like Javon in NXT. He can absolutely do everything. He's super over with the crowd, has the same fight style, same, look in ring kind of gear as well. So he looks just like him and moves like him and fights like him. So he is like a beige Javon, but they're setting up a match with Ray Phoenix taking on EK Prosper. And I do think Ray Phoenix will win that match. EK is obviously the future, but I see him going after like a North American title, and I don't see him taking this away from Ray Phoenix just yet. They didn't announce when the match is taking place. They just announced that he is the number one contender. So actually, it does say next Tuesday right now. I'm pretty stupid. So next Tuesday is looking like a pretty solid card from what's been announced so far. And then we did have this little fun backstage segment going on. We had Vanity Project taking their shot at Kendall Gray, which we love to see. So Brooks, right? Baylor, I think his name. He went up to Kendall Gray and said, you're kind of off balance. I can be here for you type of deal. And she shut that down quickly. But these four had a lot of 4, 5, 6, whatever many it is. I was going to say these two. But this group had a lot of fun chemistry with each other. It was a very just kind of simple run-of-the-mill segment. I think Vanity Project and a lot of backstage segments are a lot of fun. And the Ren QCC is just a good look for both of them. And I think this is getting Ren and Kendall both over because it's showing their personality side as well as their in-ring ability. It was time for the speed match. Part of me did think they were going to pull the trigger on Lucy and Price here. They, overall did not. They continued to keep Lexis King as a champion. And what was fine. It was a speed match. It was a lot of Lexis King running around trying not to get caught. And then, once he does get caught, interference takes place and Lexis King ends up picking up the win. And then there was like a little moment after the match where Birthright does get in the ring and start beating down Price. And you're kind of thinking to yourself, he said he wants to be alone. So obviously Bronco does come out, make the save. And they kind of take out Birthright, throw them out of the ring. And then you thought maybe there'd be a moment of a breakup. But no, they dap up, they hug. So OTM is not breaking up anytime soon. Then we have Grayson Waller come out. And one thing I will say about Grayson Waller, like him or hate him, he can obviously cut a great promo. He's always been good on the mic. Hell, they gave him his own show on the main roster. But he can always cut a good promo. And he is making NXT more interesting, in my opinion. I think if Zilla Fatu didn't come back, he should be your clear favorite to win the NXT title with how much noise and attention he's brought to the NXT brand. He's brought a lot of spotlight to that main event scene, which they desperately needed. But with Zilla Fatu come back, he's probably going to be your next champion. But anyway, Grayson Waller comes out, cuts a solid promo. Everyone comes out to the ring. That was in last match. He was saying he had Cruz Montana beat, which, was cat. Cruz Montana comes out. Tony D comes out. And then Rob Stone announces that there's going to be a triple threat match at Heatwave, setting up these three in a triple threat, which, does make a lot of sense, but just didn't last too long. And then we have Keanu Carver. I like this new character that Keanu Carver has. When he was just a tough guy, not talking to anyone, I'm too cool for this type of deal, it was very boring. This new character where he's still a super tough guy, but he has a very polite side to him, I think it's working. It's making me actually excited to see a Keanu Carver segment. This segment was very simple. He still looks scary and intimidating, but he's very calm about it, which is a nice change of pace. I think what they're doing with him is working and is going to get over with the crowd a lot more easier and a lot simpler than if he was just a super tough guy that's running people over and killing everyone. So I like what they're doing with Keanu. And then we had Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray taking on Callie and Kalani in a tag match. I think we all kind of knew what the plan was here. Ren was probably going to be the one to eat the pin, and she absolutely was the one to eat the pin, with Callie Armstrong actually pinning Ren. And then throughout the match, we did see them kind of go to this whole, Kendall Gray's equilibrium is off because of her ear, and she got thrown into the steps, and there's multiple times where she was like kind of falling over on purpose because her ear is thrown her off. So I'm guessing that's what the play is going into Heatwave, is her equilibrium is going to be off and her ear is still going to be heavily affected. But with Callie picking up the win, that kind of set up a segment later in the show where she went to Rob Stone asking for an opportunity, and Zari was clearly standing right there. And in this segment, it was kind of strange because Zari's like, there's not going to be a speed champion because once I'm done with Ren, there's going to be one dominant North American champion. So are we just going to get rid of the speed title if Zari wins? Anyway, we set it up so Zarya will face Callie next week, and if Callie wins, she'll go after the North American Championship, which I did predict in my other video, by the way, but I'm just going to keep that there. And obviously we have Kalani going after Kendall Gray at Heatwave, which I think should be a really, really good match because they're both great in-ring workers, probably two of the best in NXT right now, and they're going to put on a great match. So hopefully they can build up, have a little promo battle next week to get them going for Heatwave coming up. Then we have Dion and Suga. Cut once again, very solid, very good promo between these two in this little setup interview back and forth that they have. They are both good. They obviously are very comfortable with each other. You can tell that with their back and forth. It seems like they have great chemistry with each other. I mean, on the mic in a promo right here, or even in the ring, their matches have been pretty fun. I do like the promo and their little back and forth feud that they are having. I do think it's time to end it, which it does look like we are getting the end of it. I thought it was going to take place at Heatwave, but we're running this next week. Next week, there's going to be a weaponized steel cage match, which when they announced the steel cage, I was kind of like, ugh, okay. Like, I'm not a fan of steel cages. I think it just limits people more than lets them do extracurricular activities. It's kind of more boring stipulation, in my opinion, but they made it a weaponized steel cage match, which does kind of add a little bit more intrigue and interest to the match. And they both looked really solid in this back and forth that they had. Suga has all the charisma and charismatic in the world. He can be a star if they do push him correctly and let him be himself. If they don't try to tone him down, he could absolutely, I think, be a main roster type of character. Dion Lennox, I see the same for him. I see bright future with both these guys. Dion Lennox does work as the leader of a group, but he can cut a very solid promo on his own. He has done it before. Their back and forth, like I said, it was something that I did enjoy. They're both great, but I am ready for them to move on from this feud, whether that be either one of them going after the North American title or going after the NXT Championship, doing something else, because I like to see them feud with different people because I think they both have a bright future, but they both need wins. Then it was time for Vanity Project, mostly Jackson Drake taking on Shiloh, and what was turned into a number one contendership match because Miles Bourne ran into Shiloh backstage and told him, hey, if you win, I'll give you the number one contendership match as well. So he's working double duty either way. And the match was solid, but the referee in this match was very much overdone, and he was so ridiculously stupid and looked like an absolute clown in this match that it kind of took away from it a little bit, because we do see a moment where Micah hops up on the rope and she's distracting the ref, and then the other two outside, holding Shiloh, trying to beat him up, and the ref catches them holding Shiloh up. One, if you see them holding him and this guy looks like he's punching him, isn't that a disqualification? It's a DQ. It's not a championship match, but we need a winner. Do we? It's just a normal match. Number one contendership match, sure, but so he comes out, throws them out of the ring, or throws them out to the back. One should have been a DQ. Then later in the match, we see Shiloh on top. Jackson Drake climbs up to kind of meet him at the top, and the ref isn't standing in the proper spot, so it makes it so obvious. As Jackson gets pushed off the rope, he runs behind him to get hit and fall over, which I'm like, this guy's just absolutely stupid. He's dumb. He's not a great ref. He needs to be reevaluated. Take his badge away. But he gets knocked over, and then once again, kind of randomly here, Naraku pops out from underneath and hits Shiloh in the face with the mist. So, blind Shiloh protects him in the match. Once again, the ref looks absolutely stupid because now you have a guy standing outside the ring spraying someone with mist, and he's going to have a red face, and you're just going to act oblivious to the whole thing. I'll let this live. But anyway, we see Shiloh get sprayed, and then we see Jackson Drake hit the 450, setting up the double work for Miles Bourne at NXT Heatwave, as he will have the North American Championship match against Jackson Drake, which I do think Jackson Drake will win. And then we have Miles and Tavion taking on Vanity Project, which once again, I see Vanity Project winning. Two reasons. One, we're setting up Vanity Project. We're dripping them in gold, which I do think fits them very well. I think as a collective group, they do get over very, very well. I think all of them have a bright future together. And then this also will set up the breakup part 2, I guess, because we already kind of did this feud with Miles and Tavion, but this will set up their full breakup for them to have a feud with each other, and also taking the titles off Miles in a way where he'll be weak for both matches. Then it was time for the main event, where we did have Zilla Fatu come out to, like I said in my reaction, generic number 7 theme. Is it fine? Yeah, the theme is absolutely fine. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just, your run-of-the-mill introduction theme, but nothing to it. They definitely did do the Zilla chant at the beginning of it, trying to get that over, which when you had to force a chant to be over, it kind of takes away from the chant, because NXT crowd probably would have did it anyway. You didn't have to force it. Nonetheless, the intro was absolutely fine. And then it was time for Zilla to cut his promo. He cut what was a pretty solid. He seems very comfortable on the microphone. I know he's done a lot of indie work, but he did say, now I signed with the biggest promotion in all of the world, the WWE. So he's happy to be there. It seemed like he was acting like a face in this promo, but obviously throughout the promo, all the other 3 guys come out to, because they're all mad at him because he interfered in their match. And then, like I said, that triple threat match did not last long, because in his contract, it was stated that he gets a championship match in his first match. And he said that, that triple threat match is now going to be a fatal 4-way match. So he set up a fatal 4-way at Heatwave with Cruz, Grayson, Zilla, and Tony. Segment itself went over well. Like I said, Zilla looked very comfortable on the microphone and in the ring. And he came out looking like, throwback Dwayne Johnson with the glasses and the open button shirt on. But yeah, he seems like he's going to be over with the crowd very quickly. And I honestly would not be surprised if we gave him the title this quickly at, Sunday, August 30th, NXT Heatwave. I would not be that shocked if we pulled the trigger and we gave him the title right then and there, because he is that over. He is kind of now your new face bad super boss that you have to defeat in NXT. So he could win it here, or we could do the way that Ethan Page won the title, where, Grayson Waller might be the schemy heel that gets knocked out and falls on Cruz Montana to get the pin. So this way you can protect Tony as well. But yeah, big match set up for a 3 p.m. Eastern time start Sunday for Heatwave, which I think is setting up to be a pretty damn good show. But all in all, I think this episode of NXT was solid, continued to make things interesting, continued to build towards Heatwave, which we are doing a good job of. We can build some feuds started, some feuds moving forward. So yeah, all in all, a pretty solid episode. And, like I said, I enjoyed it, so I can't complain. It's been your boy Warren Watch Wrestling. Y'all stay beautiful, world.